Hello students, today we are going to deal with electronic media. First, let us learn about concept and types of electronic media. Electronic media are media that utilize electronics or electromechanical energy for the end user, that is the audience, to access the content. This is in contrast to the static media, mainly print media, which are more often created electronically, but do not require electronics to be accessed by the end user in the printed form. Communication media like television, radio, audio, video, etc. has made possible news, entertainment, information, education related subjects reach the very far and wide places. It has to an extent sidelined other forms of communication. With the growing network of TV satellite communication, cable services, radio stations, etc., the future of this industry seems bright. The primary electronic media sources familiar to the general public are better known as video recordings, audio recordings, multimedia presentations, slide presentations, CD-ROMs and online content. Most new media are in the form of digital media. However, electronic media may be in either analog or digital format. Advancements in the digital technologies have dramatically altered the practice of journalism. Satellite and video phones, the internet, digital audio recorders and laptop computers allow instantaneous communication between the most destinations in the world. The outcome is electronic journalism, a coverage of new media technologies, ultimately resulting in a change in the manner in which the journalists of the 21st century deliver the news. The news environment has been significantly altered by electronic journalism, as news organizations now have the ability to gather, produce and transmit information readily and instantaneously to the public. Digital advancements have proved the immediacy of news, as journalists are able to broadcast live from any destination and are able to send messages or images and video footage directly to newsrooms via video phones. Although the term is usually associated with the content recorded on a storage medium, recordings are not required for live broadcasting and online networking. Television and radio programs are distributed through radio broadcasting or cable, or often both simultaneously also. By coding signals and having decoding equipment in homes, the latter also enables subscription based channels or pay-per-view services. Broadcasting forms a very large segment of the mass media. A broadcasting organization may broadcast several programs at the same time through several channels or frequencies, for example, like BBC, 1, 2, Discovery Channel and National Geographic, etc. On the other hand, two or more organizations may share a channel and each use it during a fixed part of the day. Digital radio and digital television may also transmit multiplex programming with several channels compressed into one ensemble. When broadcasting to a very narrow range of audience, it is called narrowcasting. Contrary to some common usage, the internet and the World Wide Web are not synonymous. The internet is a collection of interconnected computer networks linked by copper wires, fiber optic cables, wireless connections, etc. The intervention of the internet has also allowed breaking news stories to reach around the globe within minutes. There is also web, which is a collection of interconnected documents linked by hyperlinks and URLs. The World Wide Web is accessible via the internet along with many other services including email, file sharing with anyone with a website can address a global audience. Prasar Bharati is India's largest public broadcasting organization It is an autonomous body set up by an Act of Parliament and comprises of Doordarshan Television Network and All India Radio, which were earlier media units of the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting. The Act received assent from President of India on 12th September 1990 after being unanimously passed by Parliament and was finally implemented in November 1997. The Prasar Bharati Act provides for establishment of a broadcasting corporation to be known as Prasar Bharati to define its composition, functions and powers. The Act grants autonomy to All India Radio and Doordarshan, which were previously under government control. By the Prasar Bharati Act, all the property, assets, debts, liabilities, payments of money due, all suits and legal proceedings involving Akashvani and Doordarshan were transferred to Prasar Bharati. Coming to the aspect of autonomous organization, as an organization, the Prasar Bharati board stipulates the Act general in superintendence, direction and management of affairs of the corporation vests in Prasar Bharati board only, which may exercise all such powers and do all such acts and things as may be exercised and done by the corporation. In Prasar Bharati board, there will be a chairman, one executive member, one member finance, one member personnel, 6 part-time members, Director General Akashvani, Director General Doordarshan, and both these Director Generals are ex officio members. There will also be one representative of the Union Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, that is the Indian Ministry, to be nominated by that ministry also. And there will be 2 representatives of the employees of the corporation also, of whom one shall be elected by the engineering staff from among the staff and one shall be elected by the other employee from among themselves itself. The President of India appoints chairman and the other members except the ex officio members, nominated members and elected members. The board shall meet not be less than 6 meetings every year, but 3 months shall not intervene between one meeting and the next meeting. Let us learn about the functions and objectives of the board. The primary duty of this corporation is to organize and conduct public broadcasting services to inform, educate and entertain the public and to ensure a balanced development of broadcasting on radio and television. The corporation shall, in the discharge of its functions, be guided by the following objectives, namely upholding the unity and integrity of the country and values enshrined in the Constitution, safeguarding the citizens' right to be informed freely, truthfully and objectively on all matters of public interest, national and international, and presenting a fair and balanced flow of information, including contrasting views without advocating any opinion or ideology of its own. Paying special attention to the fields of education and spread of literacy, agriculture, rural development, environment, health and family welfare, and science and technology also. Providing adequate coverage to the diverse cultures and languages of the various regions of the country by broadcasting appropriate programs. Also providing adequate coverage to sports and games so as to encourage healthy competition and the spirit of sportsmanship also. Providing appropriate programs keeping in view the special needs of the youth. Informing and stimulating the national consciousness in regard to the status and problems of women and paying special attention to the upliftment of women. Promoting social justice and combating exploitation, inequality and such evils as untouchability and advancing the welfare of the weaker sections of the society. Safeguarding the rights of the working classes and advancing their welfare. Serving the rural and weaker sections of the people and those residing in the border regions, backward and remote areas. Providing suitable programs keeping in view the special needs of the minorities and tribal communities. Taking special steps to protect the interests of the children, the blind, the aged, the handicapped and other vulnerable sections of the people. Promoting national integration by broadcasting in a manner that facilitates communication in the languages in India and facilitating the distribution of regional broadcasting services in every state in the languages of that state. The term unethical is used in connection with the electronic media either to mean prohibited or not allowable. To equate ethical with acceptable and think referring to codes of ethics as acceptable use policies is necessary for electronic media to be up to standard in the public eye. The explosion of investments in the area of news is the main reason for the news people getting into marketing mode rather than stay in the mode of being watchdogs and communicators to the society. You need to be creative about what you show or write, and those stories also should have some spicy content so that they can inspire people easily. It is important for the media to present anomalous issues taking place in the society to make the people aware of the issues. Members of the public will use their judgment while using the information they receive from the media. But there is unfairness even in presentation of news. One topic may be good news item and society needs to know the new things happening around, but the way such a topic is presented can be harmful as well. However, if media presentation is optioned instead of reporting of occurring of an event, it can impact the public opinion. All the members of the public are not matured enough to handle the explosive information they receive from the media. We have kids, growing adolescents and youth, oppressed women who could not get good education or worldview. While dealing with shaping of public behavior media, we need to be careful to communicate the point as a news item rather than as a opinion. Topics with positive tone were not getting realistic attention. In addition, spicy titles leading to misunderstanding of the topic communicated should be avoided. There are some principles to be remembered while presenting the news, as media should realize the responsibility vested on it by the society and impact it can have on the society. To play the respected role media gets in the public eye, a set of ethical code that should be used. The principles are: number 1, judge the news based on the impact it may have on the society. If the positive impact is more than negative, the topic is newsworthy. 2, make sure that the sensitive topics are presented without interpretations and opinions that will help public understand an event or behavior pattern and use their produce to judge. 3, do not show those things that can have disturbing impact on the society. Showing dead bodies in the TV closely or writing the modus operandi of the social ill such as adultery or prostitution, etc., should not in direct terms but merely indicative. And number 4, be sensitive to the demographic of the viewers or readers. Do not carry objectionable topics at prime times, which can attract the attention of the young who cannot make judgments about the information they receive. Number 5, try to focus on research to find out what positive topics sell like negative topics. It is easy to impact the basic instincts and sell, but it may be a popular practice to alert viewers about public crowding or impact of wrong driving habits. Principle 6 is, our journalists need prudence or maturity. Just use journalist's brain more than the marketer's brain, and next generations will be deprived of such education, and they have an intuition warning them about the immoral behavior while covering a topic and making it news. Investigative journalism is not born with TV news channels, and there were incidents that led to a large scale reform of social and legal structures after exposure of some social practices that are detrimental to the larger interests of the society. Invading privacy to expose specific issues is prima facie wrong, because the behavior of the people involved in the expose is not natural. They are motivated to commit a crime or present misdemeanor, and that is being showed as a crime. Let us learn what are the different legal and ethical issues that are present for major issues in video production, especially broadcast television. First and foremost, let us list down what they are. There are sting operations, invasion of privacy, libel, slander, copyright and rights. The first thing, sting operations. In law enforcement, a sting operation is a deceptive operation designed to catch a person committing a crime. A typical sting will have a law enforcement officer or cooperative member of the public play a role as criminal partner or potential victim and go along with the suspect's action to gather evidence of the suspect's wrongdoing. Next one is privacy for public and private individuals. Any person needs a space or solitude for himself. The Constitution does not talk about it right of privacy or invasion of privacy, but throughout the years courts have held that citizens need protection from the unwarranted or unjustified publication of images and information of a private nature. Then comes the intrusion, invasion. One type of invasion of privacy is intrusion, also referred to as intrusion on selection or intrusion on solitude, overhearing and publicizing private conversations or broadcasting images taken from private property typically constitutes an invasion of privacy. Journalists often record audio in-person interviews and telephonic conversations. Although asking permission to record an interview may immediate some people, it makes it possible for you to double check quotes, and it's cheap insurance in case the person later claims that he or she was misquoted. Next comes the access. News people may decide to go on to private property in the pursuit of information or pictures until they are specifically asked to leave. Once you move to private property, you need permission either from the owner of the property or his agent, that is the person renting the property, from police or else the authority concerned, and that will be called as access. Next comes the commercial appropriation. Commercial appropriation is also known as misappropriation, that involves an unauthorized use of an individual's organization's prominence in order to benefit someone else. If the public figure is officially participating in an event being covered, he or she can be considered a part of the event. In such cases, the camera shots may dwell on the person as much as they wish. And another legal issue is defamation. Defamation is defined as the communication to a third party of false and injurious ideas to tend to lower the community's estimation of the person, expose the person to contempt or ridicule, or injure them in their personal, professional or financial dealings. Libel is defamation by written or printed word and is generally considered more serious than slander, which is defamation by spoken words or gestures also. It should be obvious that reporters and producers must carefully check any questionable material before broadcast or distribution. At one TV station, the executive producer, the news director and the state's autonomies view questionable segments. The media policies or laws for electronic journalism we will deal now are nothing but for the broadcast media, which are under complete monopoly of the Government of India. The Supreme Court clearly differed from the monopolistic approach and emphasized that every citizen has the right to telecast and broadcast to the viewers, listeners any important event through electronic media, television or radio, and also provided the government has no monopoly over such electronic media, as such monopolistic power of the government was not mentioned anywhere in the constitution or in any other law prevailing in the country. This judgment thus brought about a great change in the position prevailing in the broadcast media, and such sector became open to the citizens. Let us learn about different types of laws that are present in India. First and foremost is Broadcasting Code. This code is adopted by the 4th Asian Broadcasting Conference in 1962, listing certain cardinal principles to be followed by the electronic media. And this is of prime importance so far as laws governing broadcast medium are concerned. Although the broadcast code was chiefly set up to govern the All India Radio, the following cardinal principles have ideally been practiced by all broadcasting and television organizations. Let me list them forward to you. First thing is to ensure the objective presentation of news and fair and unbiased comment. To promote the advancement of education and culture. To raise and maintain high standards of decency and decorum in all programs. To provide programs for the young, which by variety and content will inculcate. To promote communal harmony, religious tolerance and international understanding. To treat controversial public issues in an impartial and dispassionate manner. To respect human rights and dignity. The next law is Prasar Bharati Act 1990. The primary duty of the Act is to organize and conduct public broadcasting services to inform, educate and entertain the public, and to ensure a balanced development of the broadcasting on radio and television in the country. The next act is Cable Television Networks Regulation Act 1995. This act regulates the operation of cable television in the territory of India and regulates the subscription rates and the total number of total subscribers receiving programs are transmitted in the basic tier. And the next regulation is Cable Television Network Regulation Amendment Bill 2002. The central government may make it obligatory for every cable operator to transmit or retransmit program of any pay channel through an addressable system as and when the central government so notifies. Such notification may also specify the number of free to air channels to be included in the package of channels forming the basic service tray. Next act is the Copyright Act 1957. According to this act, copyright means the exclusive right to commercially exploit the original literary, dramatic, artistic, musical work, sound recordings or cinematographic films as per the wishes of the owner of copyright, subject to the restrictions imposed in the act. Although this act is applicable to all the branches of the media, in some areas it is specific to this particular genre. In case of a cinematographed film, to do or to authorize the doing of any of the following acts would lead to the infringement of copyright. Those acts are namely to make a copy of the film, to cause the film insofar as it consists of visual images to be seen in public, and insofar as it consists of sounds to be heard in public. To make any record embodying the recording in any part of the soundtrack associated with the film by utilizing such soundtrack, to communicate the film by radio diffusion. The act also makes it cognizable offence for anyone to sell, hire, distribute, exhibit, possess or view any unauthorized recordings, and prescribes severe penalties including imprisonment, fines as well as confiscation of the equipment used for the purpose of such recording and exhibition. The amendments to the Copyright Act also prohibit unauthorized transmission of films on the cable television. In this age of media explosion, one cannot simply remain confined to the boundaries of the traditional media. The media world has expanded its dimensions by encompassing within its orbit the widening vistas of cyber media, etc. As a consequence, the laws governing them are also numerous. It is not within the scope of the laws to deal with the whole subject of media laws. The various branches of media communication only makes aware of a journalist's rights and facilitating him to exercise them within the framework of law existing in India, and in the end furthering the cause of the freedom of speech and expression and dissemination of knowledge. Coming to the advantages of electronic communication, it requires only few seconds to communicate through electronic media because of its quick transmission. And the world has become a global village, and communication around the globe requires a second only. Today that is possible through electronic communication. Electronic communication saves time and money. For example, you can just text an SMS that is cheaper than a traditional letter, or the electronic communication allows instant exchange of feedback. So, the communication becomes perfect using electronic media, and the feedback also is very much easy. Due to the advancement of electronic media, one can easily control operation across the globe. Video and teleconferencing, email and mobile communication are helping managers in this regard. They can be easily accessed anywhere with a computer, if not at least a smartphone or an iPad of just on your doorstep. They are also eco-friendly and there is no need for wasting a paper. Regarding the disadvantages of electronic communication, it is not free from the below limitations. The volume of telecommunication information is increasing in such a fast rate that business people are unable to absorb it within relevant time limit. It requires huge investment also for infrastructural development, and frequent change in the technology also demands for further investment. Data or information, if faxed, may be distorted, or so compared to the information through print media, it is zero value in the eye of the law. Data may not be retrieved due to that system error, or fault with the technology also may become a problem in undelivered data also. Hence, required service will be delayed. There is also the technology that is changing every day, and therefore, poor countries face problem as they cannot afford new or advanced technology. Therefore, poor countries need to be dependent towards developed countries for sharing global network. With this, I conclude the electronic media lessons, and let us go forward with the questions.
Ma'am, this is Roja. I have a doubt. Can central government control all channels?
Yes, any channel, it may be a private channel or a public channel, that should work under the surveillance of the Information and Broadcasting Ministry. So, it is always bounded to the rules and regulations of the Prasar Bharati Act always. So, it should work under the constitution rules and regulations that are being imposed by the ministry. Any more questions? With this, I conclude the topic of electronic media. Thank you.